What's up, YouTube? The Zen Trekker coming at you again. It's been a little while since my last video, but I have some time. I'm sitting at a customer getting unloaded, and just seemed like a good time to get back on YouTube and give a little update. So I've been at JB Hunt now for almost 2 months. Those who've been watching my videos, you know I've made the move over to JB Hunt Intermodal. So for those who are not familiar with the trucking industry, intermodal means multiple modes of transportation. So in my case, it is from rail to ground. So going from the trains to a truck to a customer. So basically my day consists of starting at the rail yard, picking up a trailer from the rail yard and delivering it to a customer. I either get unloaded or I drop the container, and then I take the empty and go to another customer who then loads me up, and I take that load back to the rail, and at that point it goes onto a train and goes in the other direction. So I'm in Southern California. I work mostly out of the LA ramp, which is the BNSF rail line out of LA. They also have a Commerce rail yard. So I work out of both rail yards. The LA is the big one, the Commerce is the little one. But basically all day long I go back and forth, rail yard to customer, customer to rail yard. And it's great. I love it. It's local, so I go home every night. Love going home every night, and I have the weekends off unless I want to work on a Saturday, and I'm really loving it. This week I feel like I turned a corner. I think that the biggest challenge with working as a local intermodal driver is just getting all the logistics down and getting efficient, because you're doing so much hooking up to trailers, finding the warehouse that you're going to, figuring out how to get into the warehouse, how to get into their yard, where shipping and receiving is at each warehouse, you know, what they need in shipping or receiving, like from the paperwork. Do they want the PO number? Do they want the appointment number? Do they want, you know, this or that? Every yard, every warehouse works a little bit differently, but they all act like you're supposed to know how they do it, which I don't mind. I mean, I could see how it could be frustrating, but you know, I don't mind. There are more frustrating things in life, and I just try to look at it from their perspective. They have a job to do, and I have a job to do. My job is to make the customer happy. So that's kind of it. In terms of turning a corner this week, I just feel like you know, it took some time. You know, I had a couple of weeks of training, and then I was on my own. And no matter how much training you get, once you're on your own, like, you're on your own. You don't have somebody sitting next to you that you can ask questions or look to give you a nod that you're doing the right thing. You know, so that first month of just being on my own, you know, it's a lot of, you know, finding the trailer in the yard, figuring out where the warehouse is. You know, your GPS sends you to the wrong address. You get to the address, but, you know, you can't figure out where to get in. You see where to get in, but you passed it. And now, you know, you're in a truck, so you can't just do a U-turn down the street. So you got to figure out how to get back there. Or you get to the entrance and there's a giant sign that says no left turn. All right, well, how am I going to get back around here and get into that yard making a right turn? You know, once you're in the yard, some of these yards that I go into, some of these warehouses are tiny. Some of them you can't even drive into the yard. You got to back into them off the street. You know, some of them are in a building that's hidden on a property behind, 6 other buildings. So every new place I go to is like a little adventure. And but I feel like this week I kind of turned a corner in terms of just being efficient, getting to the customers a little bit quicker, getting hooked up to my trailer a little bit quicker, getting in and out of the rail yard just a little bit quicker, being able to back into docks more efficiently, especially backing, backing at the rail yard. Sometimes at the rail yard the backing can be a little tight, even though the slots are angled. You would think it would be easier, but sometimes those lanes are a little tight. And getting into an angled slot is different than getting into a dock. So every little bit, like every 5 or 10 minutes that you save on each thing that you do throughout the day saves time and efficiency, which means you finish your day earlier, which means you can either go home earlier or get that extra load. So the first month or so, I start at 7 a.m., which means by the time I get to the rail yard and get hooked up to my first load, it's usually about 8 o'clock. And by the end of the day, like for that first month or 5 weeks or so, I wasn't getting done until 7, 8 o'clock at night, which meant I wasn't getting home until 8:30, 9 o'clock every night, which means, I'm getting less sleep, because you got to get home, have some dinner, spend some time with the family, go to sleep, and then I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. This week, I feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm able to do my 3 or 4 loads and be finished and back at my terminal by 5:30, 6 o'clock, which means I'm getting home around 7:30 every night. And this week, I think 4 out of 5 days I've been home by 7:30 and making a little more money. Maybe it was just luck of the draw this week, but I got some better loads. I was able to get 3 loads most days and 4 loads on a couple of days. So getting home earlier, making more money, that's really what you want to do. Overall, I really like the work. It's stress-free. I think, if there's one thing that I can say that is the most important thing to be safe and to be stress-free, it's don't be in a hurry. Anytime you're in a hurry, you make mistakes. You forget something, or you don't look in one of your mirrors, and you have more opportunity to make a mistake. And a mistake with in a truck is usually an expensive mistake, and sometimes, God forbid, you could hurt somebody. So you don't want to make mistakes. So the biggest thing is don't be in a hurry. And that also goes towards level of anxiety and stress. I've never felt in my life as relaxed and stress-free as I have since I started driving a truck. It just a sense of relief and peace and freedom that I never felt before on a job. I mean, obviously, I was in education before, and there's there's a certain satisfaction that you get from working with kids, of course, especially kids with special needs, which is what I was doing for most of my life in education, was working with kids with special needs. There's definitely a sense of satisfaction you get from that. But as I got more and more involved in administration, it becomes less and less working with kids and more administrative tasks, that cause a lot of stress. So anyway, living the life, figuring things out, and things are good. As usual, feel free to comment or email me if you have any questions, any comments, and for all you drivers who are watching, be safe out there and don't be in a hurry. Peace.